here. I mean, these are absolutely, without doubt, the weakest cases that I've ever seen, by and large.
And the person you represent, what's his name?
I represent one of the 4 remaining Kuwaitis. His name is Fayiz al-Kandari. He's been in American care, custody, and control for the past 7.5 years without a single substantive any kind of process to show that he didn't in fact do what they accuse him of doing, which is essentially general being an Arab in Afghanistan.
Okay, so he was picked up by, I mean, I'm going to make an assumption here. He was, of course, picked up fighting American troops and shooting at our troops. Is that correct?
No, that's absolutely not correct.
He was picked up in a bomb-making facility then.
No, even that. I mean, when I talk to Fayiz, he sometimes says, you know what, this would be so much easier if, in fact, I'd actually even done anything. No, he was one of the 95% that were picked up by Northern Alliance soldiers. There's the DOD, West Point counterterrorism. Those agencies have done complete and elaborate analysis of this. These sites are all over the web. The DOD will tell you without doubt that 95% of the detainees that were picked up were not picked up by American soldiers.
And I hope that the people who are listening caught my sarcasm when I was saying that. We were told by the Bush administration, we were led to believe by the Bush administration, these were people who were, as you said, the worst of the worst. They were shooting at our soldiers, plotting to blow up our soldiers and hurting our troops, and plotting against our country. And the story that is coming out from you and others is quite a different picture. And we were just discussing as we led into the break that Iran has actually gone off. The Supreme Leader of Iran has made a statement today saying that the United States need not lecture Iran on human rights, given what we've been doing. And I think it's sad but true. I have no idea if this gentleman's guilt or innocence. But from what you're saying, he's not even being charged with anything. Is that correct?
Well, let me tell you. I mean, at certain points, we've given the impression we've had what's called a CRST board, which essentially was done under the former administration, whereby all evidence was presumed to be inherently reliable on the part of the government. So if they had a case like my client's case where it's completely based on hearsay, whereby one individual tells another individual who tells a translator who tells an interrogator, they were offering the unsworn statement of the interrogator as to what the translator had said by the detainee who they refused to offer. So that is the due process that we've had to date. And we call that rumor in the regular world.
So basically there is no due process, is what you're saying. It's just being completely non-existent.
Well, what I'm saying to you is you know, the new administration has just taken over, and I mean, me personally, and I think I speak for the defense people, I mean, we want the administration to succeed, and we want to bring justice to these people that have been in prison for 7.5 years. I mean, for me, I mean, it's kind of disheartening when we discuss what is or isn't torture, or what administration person is a good guy or a bad. None of that matters. Call it what you will. Think what you will about anybody. What we're asking for is some due process, some justice. Let's get the ball rolling. I'm not happy that the Department of Justice is over there designing a new process for us. You know, they're the same people that brought you the torture memos, who are now going to create some special system for my client. No, we would like to go to federal district court. That's tried. That's tested. This case will never make it to a jury.
That is a very sad state of affairs, I just have to say. Is there what action are you seeking right now? I know you said when I talked to you earlier today, you were looking to get your client just flat out released. But barring that, what could the government do? going on the assumption that they have some evidence they do feel they have. I mean, we just don't know.
Well, actually, I suspect that I kind of do know. I mean, having been involved in the case for approaching a year now, I mean, I'm kind of looking at some of the stuff that they're looking at, and to me, I mean, send us to federal district court. Send us to a court that's tried and tested. I mean, to suggest that my client has some kind of massive secrecy surrounding his case and that behind the secret curtain there's some fantastic evidence that must be suppressed and hidden from public view, bring it out into the light, bring my client to justice, and let's get the case going. I mean, let's get it out in the open. There's no need to pretend that my client, there's massive secrets out there that are just too secret for you, for your protection.
And to me, go ahead, Katie.
Major Wingard, first of all, thank you. This is it's just incredible that you're on the show and talking about this stuff with us here tonight. Now, with things like the words classified and everything that comes with these kinds of cases, and the whole, I guess I would say, I don't even know what the word would be, but basically the whole sentiment toward Middle Eastern people, toward Middle Eastern countries, and toward these detainees. What are the chances, if you went to court, that people would actually hear the truth rather than classified, detainee, Guantanamo Bay?
Well, see, that's where we're kind of at. We don't know what we're about to get. I mean, supposedly they're designing a better mousetrap that's going to give us justice. But the problem that we have is that we're not sure what that system's going to be. Until they begin to talk in specifics, we're still out there in the neverland of maybe, maybe not. And my thing is that that's really not a way to run a system. I mean, 7.5 years of confinement. I mean, some of the worst treatment that you can imagine. And my client is still sitting in Guantanamo Bay.
So here's a man who's been detained for almost 8 years and, tortured, really, is how I hear when I hear detained. And the future is completely and totally uncertain. You have no idea how to go about this case. He has no idea how anybody's going to hear his case, and there's essentially pretty much no hope rather than your and his story is going to fall on the ears of somebody who understands something beyond racial stereotype or the sentiment that comes with Guantanamo Bay detainees.
Well, and also, I mean, that's a great summary. But also, let's not forget that the decision-making as far as what is or isn't classified, I mean, I'm heartened to hear that the administration is going to modify the hearsay rule, because under the old commission process, it was just ridiculous that hearsay was presumed to be reliable. A statement made by somebody that can't be confronted is assumed to be reliable. That's ridiculous. At least the administration has agreed to modify that. But that's a starting point. That's not an ending point. When you have a process that's not tried, that's not tested, that is based on secrecy, and who knows who got what classified information, and they're over there designing us a system, who gets the resources to get witnesses? How do we get witnesses to Guantanamo Bay? What's to say that I get that my client's medical records or photos that were taken of him are not classified by the designers of this new system? There's many ways to game a system that's not tried or tested.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. And I guess my lasting question would be, if you do get it to a tried and tested court, and you know your way around the tried and tested court's legal system, but there's still that sentiment there. There's still 9/11, and people can't look past that into any other event ever in history or any other hope for a Middle Eastern person.
Let me just say that, I mean, I don't think it's as dour as all of that. I think there are some legitimate heroes in this story. And, I mean, the FBI, the people that stood up and said, no, that we're not going to get involved in this as far as the torture, that we're going to abide by the Geneva Convention. There are hundreds of those people, and from that perspective, it's a good story. As far as our relations with the Middle East, I mean, Fayiz al-Kandari is a Kuwaiti, and Kuwait happens to be one of our best allies in the Middle East. We fought a war to liberate Kuwait. Kuwait has been given the assurance that if they build a rehabilitation center, which they've just built and I was at just last week, that the detainees will be released to them. And, I mean, they're doing everything that they can to try to foster better relations with us, and I just hope that we reciprocate and live up to our promise to return the detainees.